With less than 2 weeks to go before Prime Minister Scott Morrison faces Anthony Albanese in the final vote on 21st May, the incumbent Prime Minister is hoping for a fourth term in a political system plagued by turbulence in recent years. Morrison was pressed for criticism over his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. When quizzed by Albanese on his comments in 2021 that the vaccination program was not a race, the Prime Minister said he was wrong to use these words. "It was a race," Morrison said on Sunday night, "and we shouldn't have described it in those terms." The situation in Australia before the elections is worsening day by day. Recently, the researchers in Australia are lamenting the state of science ahead of elections. They said neither the government nor the main opposition party has made sufficient pledges to address research funding, low morale, and job insecurity, issues that the COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated. "There's a very dark mood in science in Australia," says Darren Sanders, a biomedical scientist in Sydney. "It's pretty shocking. It's pretty sad. A lot of people have had an adamant time of it." Opinion polls suggest that voters could oust the government led by Prime Minister Scott Morrison of the Conservative Liberal National Coalition on May 21st. Polls report that the opposition centre-left Labour Party, led by Anthony Albanese, would have received 55% of the votes. But some political analysts are reluctant to predict the result after the coalition defied the polls and won the last election. So far, the campaign has focused on the economy and the cost of living. Researchers are disappointed that science and the environment have barely featured. Despite the ongoing pandemic and large parts of the country experiencing calamitous bushfires and flooding in recent years, Australians need a government that can take on board evidence, create policy, and respond effectively to a crisis, says Brown Michael, an astrophysicist at Monash University in Melbourne. The centre-right Liberal National Coalition is campaigning for a rare fourth term of office with strong economy and record low unemployment. But the government has struggled to make up ground against the Labour opposition, who have led in opinion surveys since the beginning of the campaign in April. With the rising number of voters turning to minor parties, there is also a possibility that neither leader will win a majority of seats in the 151-seat parliament, forcing Australia into a minority government. New polling by Ipsos released shortly before the debate began showed that Labour opposition polling further ahead of the Liberal National Coalition, expanding their lead to 57% ahead of the government's 43%. Albanese maintained his lead over Morrison as the preferred Prime Minister in Ipsos poll.